Good morning. Thank you very much for being here today on our first interview with the Vice President of American Airlines. On behalf of our Board of Directors, our faculty team, our international body of students, and all of our external guests enrolling today to watch this live webinar, we would like to extend a very warm welcome and our thank you. It's been an honor and a real pleasure to have here today with us the Vice President of American Airlines International Sales, Mr. Hodges. Mr. Shane Hodges, he's been holding the Vice President position for American Airlines, and he's been recently promoted as the Vice President of Western Division and International Sales. And it's a big honor that we are announcing this promotion here today with us. So welcome, Mr. Shane Hodges, and thank you very much for being here today. It's been an honor and a real pleasure having you here with us.
Kalimera. Well, it's great to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Thank you. It's been an honor. So allow us just to introduce a little bit to the external mostly guests that we are having here today for this live webinar, who exactly we are, and then we are going to move forward to tell us a few very interesting facts about actually who American Airlines it is. So Metropolitan College, as you already know, and we have already introduced ourselves, it's considered to be the leading educational provider all over Greece. It offers excellent master programs, bachelor programs, and it has very prestigious educational partners from all over the world. Lately, we have added to our School of Tourism the master program from Oxford Brookes University, and also a very prestigious partner, the École Hôtelière de Lausanne, which is our partner for the School of Tourism. So a few words about us, just to introduce us also to the audience. And allow me to introduce you a little bit to our guests and to our students, because American Airlines is really well known, but let me say a few words about your impressive CV. So Mr. Shane Hodges has been appointed the position of Vice President. Before that, he was holding various senior leadership positions in Starwood Hotels and Resorts. He has 22 years of continuous experience within the travel industry. And before the last position that we have also congratulate you for the new promotion. We are very happy that this happened during our preparation for the interview. He's been holding senior positions like the global group and emerging sales platforms, and serious positions in director all over the world through Starwood Hotels and Resorts. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Shane Hodges, and I think now it's the appropriate time to give you the space to discuss a little bit about American Airlines, that we all know that it's the leading airline company around the world, and it's considered to be the cornerstone of a full-service carrier for many decades around the world. So the space is all yours.
Well, thank you. I'm very embarrassed. You're so nice. You have made me sound so impressive at the company. So I thank you very much for that. It was a very nice introduction. Thank you. But look, let me just tell you, American Airlines, and so I'm going to give you some statistics about American Airlines that really were 2019 statistics, because we've obviously many of us have had a very, very difficult 2020, but certainly American Airlines is an extremely large airline. We are a publicly traded company based in Dallas, Texas. That's our home office, where we have a beautiful, very, very new campus in Dallas-Fort Worth. And just before COVID-19, American was the largest airline in the world. And that happened after we merged with US Airways in 2013. Many of you that may have studied the airline consolidation that happened in the United States around 2013, 2014, 6 of the very large US airlines merged to become 3 very large US airlines. And American Airlines merged with US Airways, and we became the biggest airline in the world. We were a $50 billion company. That's B for Bob, a $50 billion business. And we will be a $50 billion business again. We operated in over 50 countries. We have more than 1,500 aircraft, and we flew 7,000 flights a day, transporting 200 million customers worldwide. And we did that with 140,000 employees at American Airlines. So a large airline, Piggy.
This is an underestimation. The numbers that you have mentioned to us are really impressive. and it really communicates the title that you have as the leader in the airline sector. Thank you very much for presenting those impressive numbers to us. And now, moving on to our discussion, I would like to mention to our students and to our audience a few words about your personal CV. And this is something that is really of a big interest of our students, because our School of Tourism actually they want to know about a bachelor degree. They want to know, because you have been also a student, you have, as we can see, earned your bachelor degree in business management from the Queensland University years ago. And they want to know a degree was helpful, and how soon did you manage to navigate yourself to higher management positions like the ones that you are holding right now. And that would be really interesting for our students to hear, and also communicate a few details about what hospitality industry is. It's not only hotels. There are a lot of sectors that our students can potentially, make their career. So please let us know your thoughts and ideas about that.
Of course. Well, let me start with my dream as a student, because I'm sure and I know that we have the board of directors and the faculty on the call as well. And not that as we get older, we don't have dreams as well, but I know there's many students on the call dreaming of their future careers. And let me just tell you a little bit about what I was dreaming of, and then how my career started to unfold. And then I'd love to give you some of the best potential advice I can give you to navigate what can be fairly complicated companies and careers. But as a student, I remember dreaming that I just wanted to have a job where I could work and be paid to live and travel all over the world. And while I was studying, I am Australian, and while I was studying in Australia, I needed to pay my bills. And so I was a waiter in a bar restaurant that happened to be in a Sheraton hotel. And when I graduated, I realized, well, hang on, the Sheraton Hotel Company is everywhere. They're all over the world. They're a very professional hotel organization. I might see what the opportunities would be. And I obviously had a business degree, and I went into the HR office and said, look, I've just graduated. I'm working in the restaurant. And I think the next week I was working in the call center. And so I was basically taking reservations from all over the world. I had never been anywhere, guys. I'd never traveled. And I was selling New York, and I was selling our hotels in Paris, and selling our hotels in Buenos Aires. And I'd never been to any of them. And I realized that I really wanted to go and see those places that I had been selling. And so I began having sales roles in Australia, in hotels in Australia. And then I was very lucky to transfer to Europe, where I had roles in London and Dublin. And then I got incredibly lucky and got to come to Athens, where I worked at the Hotel Grand Bretagne as a director of sales and marketing. And I looked after all of our hotels in Greece, Turkey, and Cyprus. And then after that, I had my first head office job at the hotel company that was Starwood at the time. And that was in New York. Can you imagine? I've come from Australia to London, to Dublin, to Greece, to New York. And I had my first corporate roles. Really incredible. Exciting. Amazing. And my boss at the time is a lady named Alison Taylor. And gentlemen on the call, you should always work for a woman. They're better bosses. Don't tell anyone I said that, but women are better bosses. And Alison was my boss at Starwood Hotels. And after a great career at Starwood, she went to American Airlines. And 6 months later, she said, Shane, you have to come and work at American Airlines. They are wonderful people. And so 3.5 years ago, I joined American Airlines as the head of Asia Pacific sales. And then from there, about a year ago, I was given all international markets to manage for the airline in the sales capacity. And as we just mentioned, I now will take responsibility for international as well as the western part of the United States. Now, in terms of the advice I can give you to have a similar career path, because it hasn't taken a long time. I'm not 21 anymore, but
You're
it's
still
been
really
a fairly...
young, the Hodges. You're still really young.
I appreciate, I'm going to take that.
For this impressive career, you're still really young.
I appreciate that. I would like you to call my mother after the call if you could.
For sure.
But the way, the best recommendations I can give you as new students starting to come into a career, if you just do a few of these things, I promise you will accelerate quickly through your career. And the first thing is ask for more responsibility. As soon as you are doing your current job well, ask for more responsibility. Don't wait. Be an early adopter of new ideas. Don't push back. Don't say, no, I can't. Say, yes, I can. Quickly think big picture. When you start, you really will be a fairly small cog in a very large machine. Try and understand the bigger picture quickly. My other advice, move, both geographically so that you get a global perspective, and within the company or industry that you choose to work with, because that will give you perspective of the full industry. There will always be more opportunities for generalists than specialists. Also, communicate and collaborate. Focusing on your own task will only get you so far, guys. If you focus on how you can fully leverage a team and communicate well, you will go much further. And lastly, have structure. Build plans. Plans can be followed by senior executives. Plans give transparency and drive accountability. No plan means there's no direction, means there's no growth. And of course, hospitality, what you're studying, my God, it can take you into aviation, it can take you into tour operating, destination management companies, cruise lines. There's just so many paths that you can take within hospitality. So it certainly isn't just restaurants, bars or hotels. There are so many other industries you can go into, including aviation.
Thank you very much. Your advice was really highly appreciated, and it was exactly what we would love our students to hear from you. And I'm just mentioning also, I would like us to mention another point that you have shared with us about networking, how a former colleague of yours gave you the opportunity to move from one company to another. So networking is something that is really important in all business sectors, but especially in our hospitality sector. And your advice was highly appreciated. Thank you very much for sharing this with our students. Now, coming back to a few more, let's say, technical questions, some questions that are really of a big interest of our audience, and let's elaborate a little bit about the future of the tourism and airline sector. So what is your personal opinion as a representative of American Airlines concerning the future of the global airline industry and the tourism industry in general? Any changes that you are projecting in the overall map of smaller airline companies, any effects on global tour operators or destinations, any particular changes that in evolving aircraft technology, we are hearing and reading a lot of things that all this COVID area crisis might lead to better aircraft, faster aircraft, that they are doing, non-stop flights. So what is American Airlines positions and thoughts about that issue?
Sure. Well, look, let me initially begin with thoughts about the industry moving forward, the future of whether it's the airline industry or hospitality, tour operating. And look, I'm extremely positive and confident, guys. Please know that short-term peaks and troughs in the industry, that happens. Now, COVID was a massive trough. Don't get me wrong. We all know this has been a very significant period. However, it's a trough nonetheless, because when you consider the global economy, and the path that the global economy was on pre-COVID, please be confident that that growth is going to return. The global economy was being powered by China, India, parts of Asia, Eastern Europe, South America, and Africa, and was on track to drive 1 billion people into the middle class by 2030. That's 1 billion more people with good jobs, with financial security, disposable income, and that means the ability to travel. So this global economic expansion is going to continue. It's a little delayed because of COVID, but it will certainly continue and go well beyond 2019 levels. Please know that. In the medium to long term, business will return. Travel and hospitality will be in huge demand again because of that incredible growth in the global economy that COVID is not going to stop. It only paused. Now, in terms of our industry, a little bit more specific in terms of the industry and the airline industry, look, we're heavily focused on recovery planning now. And if I speak to the aviation industry, we're working very hard to give people the confidence that it's safe to travel. There is a statistic that says 30% of folks are actually traveling, guys. They are. TSA statistics in the US shows that the domestic industry is at about 30 to 40% of 2019 levels. So about 30% of folks are traveling because they really want to or because they have to. Another 30% are close. They're really thinking about traveling. And then another 30%, quite frankly, aren't going to travel until there's a vaccine. And so we're very focused on that 30% in the middle. And we want to try and convince those folks that it's safe to travel. And we're doing that by being very communicative with all the safety procedures that we're taking. So for instance, we have SurfaceWise 2, which is an EPA-approved product, very long-lasting protection on our planes against coronavirus. Anyone on our plane has to wear a face mask. We are asking at check-in every single person if they have symptoms. The filters, the HEPA filters we have on board, they're changing the air every 2 to 4 minutes. It's like a hospital operating room on board, and many other things that we're doing around ticket flexibility that allows customers to book knowing that there is flexibility to make changes if they need to. So we're doing all of those things to encourage travel, to move from the 30, 40% of what it was last year to the 70 or 80% before the vaccines come out. And then we're really confident when the vaccines come out that demand is going to return quite strongly. And we believe that will be true for the hospitality industry as much as it will be for aviation.
All right. Allow me just to make a small note here that exactly for all those reasons that you have mentioned, the precautions and all the measures that you are taking into our flights, this was another initiative that our college has taken, and we are offering exactly a very important certificate for hygiene and operational health and safety issues to our partners called Hoteliers de Lausanne. And it's really important that you are mentioning that, because we are truly also focusing on the health and safety procedures of our students and for hospitality workers in general. It's a fantastic certificate that we are offering exactly because we have understood also how important is people to work on safe environments. Correct. Now, I have kept also another point of our discussion a little bit earlier, and this is maybe you would like to elaborate to us. Where do you think exactly that the actual estimation of the full recovery will happen? Most of the airline companies we see in a lot of research that we are doing, they are talking about between 3 to 5 years. You know that aviation is an industry that it was mostly affected by the COVID-19. And the International Air Transportation Association, IATA, says that the situation will not come back to normal before 2024. So do you have a better estimation? Do you agree with most with this points that most of the airlines companies are making. 3 to 5 years is the minimum estimation we are talking about. What are your projections?
Yeah, let me tell you what we're thinking. Look, as I mentioned earlier, right now, and if we just look at those domestic numbers, the industry is really at about 30 to 40% today of what it was in 2019. And we feel really very confident that leisure travel will recover quicker. And it will recover quicker than other segments because there is a huge pent-up demand for folks to visit, to meet family and friends. It's been so long, hasn't it, before we've been able to see family and friends. There's a real demand for that. And for vacations and to see the world again. And individuals, unlike companies, individuals can make the decisions to travel quite quickly for themselves as well. And so we believe once the vaccines start being distributed quite widely in Q2 of next year, that we will actually see a very strong growth in leisure travel for summer of next year. And we think that leisure demand will grow into the traditional holiday season in the US of Thanksgiving, and certainly then continue to grow into the traditional season of Christmas. Now, corporate will take a little longer and will return at a different pace around the world and at a different pace by industry. And that's because some industries have been much more hurt by COVID than other industries. And so, for instance, my own industry, the aviation industry, has been more impacted than, say, for instance, a company like Amazon, who was actually performing extremely well during this period. And so our two companies will recover and travel a little differently because of balance sheets. And so we do expect to see a different return from corporate. However, bottom line, we firmly believe that business travel will return. Business travel will be strong because we all know that it really is best to do business face to face. So in short, we think leisure will recover quickly, strong. We think it will begin as soon as vaccines are distributed middle of next year, and corporate will take a little bit longer. So probably towards the end of next year, 2022, it does make sense here.
Thank you very much. That's very optimistic, and we are really happy to hear your estimations and your projections. You're really helping the morals of all the people around the world and of our students and of our external guests watching this live webinar. Allow me to ask you one question. Do you think that this comeback will be more for international flights or more local flights within USA? And this demand, do you think that it's gonna, as you mentioned, go up slow and gradually, not in a very fast pace?
Sure. What we're seeing is most major carriers see the demand return in their own domestic market. So whether that is Qantas in Australia or Japan Airlines in Japan, or whether that is ourselves in the US, in the United States, we do see the domestic markets because they're easier to be managing the COVID situation in many instances. And so the domestic markets return, and then we do expect that the international markets will grow after the domestic markets start returning. And so we do anticipate that there will be strength in domestic markets, maybe short haul. So whether it is European short haul, US short haul, into the Caribbean, into Mexico, Australia short haul, Japan short haul, China short haul, into Asia. But then the long haul will return after that. But we're very confident that the long haul will return after that. And for instance, American flies directly into Greece, and there is such demand for Greece, such a strong leisure destination. I'm very confident that we would be, you would see a return in particular to locations like Greece quicker than maybe some other markets.
Thank you very much. That's really, really nice and really hopeful to hear about it. Now, a little bit earlier, we mentioned also any changes that all these crises might bring to new technology and to new aircraft. And how about the trend of people now that they wanted to do one long and non-stop flight for health and safety reasons? What is your estimation about that? Do you see any demand of travelers that they want to travel one non-stop bigger flight than having small, intermediate flights? And what about the hubs in airports? What are your projections? What do you see? And there's a lot of discussion about that all these crises will help and evolve the new aircraft technology, that new aircrafts are going to be in the market to help exactly this demand. What is your feeling?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about what I think how we travel is going to change, and then touch a bit on what we think those travel patterns will look like. If you remember 9/11, which was a security issue, whereas we would consider COVID more of a health issue. Some of the changes in how we travel because of 9/11 have really stayed with us for a long time, as we know. Things like your laptops and the type of screening that we go through. But we think there will be things that will stay with us because of the COVID situation as well. So, for instance, the enhanced cleaning and the cleaning on the aircraft, guys, was always very, very good. But the enhanced cleaning to ensure that it's really a virus-free environment, that won't change. That will stay with us when we come out of COVID. Health declarations, airlines asking for those sorts of health declarations or potentially vaccine certificates, those things are likely to remain in place for some time. Also, social distancing. And the touchless experience that we have as part of our mobile devices or at the airport or as we board the aircraft, that won't disappear. I really do think, in fact, that will accelerate because we were always working on a touchless experience from an efficiencies point of view to help get you, a customer, through the airport experience conveniently. Well, that's now just accelerated from a health perspective. So the touchless technology that we have been investing in, that will absolutely continue. But in terms of travel habits, we're really going to have to wait and see. We do think corporate travel will return, but it may not look the same. It may not happen in the same way. Leisure travel is going to return, but it may not happen in the same way. Will the length of the trips be different? Will they be shorter? Will they be longer? Will people feel comfortable to be further away from home? Will they want to know more about their airport, the aircraft, the destination before they make a decision? Will there be a drive to using intermediaries, whether they're online or physical people in the industry that will help to educate on travel? We just don't know. And the interesting point is we will be coming out of COVID. The vaccines are here. The middle of next year, things will look very different. And we'll start to get a good idea on how those travel patterns may or may not be changing. And yes, we will be ready that if we need to change the way that we operate or the aircraft that we fly, we will. But we're very committed to our hub strategy. We have major hubs around the United States. They're exceptional hubs, great locations, really efficiently run. And we do still see the future in that space moving forward. But again, we will see how habits may or may not have changed fairly soon, I think.
Right. Thank you very much. That was very insightful. And I just want to mention, and let us also know your thoughts and ideas about that there is a big international trend about travelers coming back after the post-COVID era, that they would like to travel in a more secluded areas, that big popular destinations might change. Like there are a lot of surveys showing that Alaska is becoming a very popular destination lately. So are those something that, of course, I'm sure, but I'm just asking, are those destination different, let's say, selections that your clients might select? Is this something that you are thinking seriously? Or do you have an idea or a trend? Are you evaluating that there is an international trend of people who want to travel in different destinations instead of big popular cities?
You know, what we're actually seeing is that it's not one or the other. What we're finding is that there was a reason folks wanted to go to Paris and to Rome or to London or to New York. And we honestly don't think that will fundamentally change. We don't. But could it look a little different? It might. We all have to wait and see. But we think there's fundamental reasons why they are very popular locations to travel to. And we honestly do think that will come back. But we also think that if there is any silver lining to what has been an awful year for so many of us, is that there is potentially an outcome of this could be that there are new destinations being considered, interest in different destinations. And that would just be wonderful. And again, we're ready for that. We'll be ready to service that if we need. That, if my humble opinion, I think both will happen. I don't think it will be one over the other. I think it really is, again, fueled by that billion people that are going to come into the middle class around the world over the next 10 years. I think we will see growth in the traditional legacy locations, as well as possibly some undiscovered destinations and locations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, coming back to the customer service and all the privileges that you are giving to your clients, because we have a big interest around what the aviation industry is going to offer now after the post-COVID era to the clients. What are your plans? Are you famous for a very customer service, let's say, privilege that you are offering, except from the flexibility plans that you already informed us that you are giving flexibility plans and all the safety and the protocols that you are holding to your clients? Any specific customer service related privileges or something that you are offering over and above nowadays to your clients? And what is the most popular privilege that American Airlines guests are asking from the sales and marketing department?
Of course. Well, I think the one thing that this has caused is it's almost allowed the airlines to step back and really reinvent how they wish to go forward, because we all know that air travel literally stopped. Now, it has moved up to that 30-40% now, but there was a period where we were literally, all planes were on the ground, and that gave us all the opportunity to reassess and to see how we wanted to move forward. And there's no doubt that American is one of the, as I said, the largest airline in the world, the top three airlines in the United States, where it's extremely competitive. And we just want to be the best airline to do business with in terms of a business-to-business relationship. We just want to be a very easy airline to do business with. And in terms of our customers, we want them to have a seamless and an emotive journey. We want the journey to be as rewarding as the destination. And so our goal is to deliver that, and whether that is through our customer service, whether that is through our digital investments, whether that's in the investments of our planes. I mean, we have the youngest fleet. We've invested billions. Our planes are extremely new. All of those elements we're putting together to try and deliver an experience that is a warm and comfortable and safe and secure experience when you fly American. And in terms, yes, absolutely, there's incredible flexibility like never before. The airlines have removed a number of those costs, additional costs that used to be part of the airline when demand was incredibly high. And so it really is there's no better time to be flying. Prices are incredibly good. And so and in terms of what do our customers really, really appreciate, well, our loyalty program is incredibly important to us and incredibly valued because of what the loyalty program delivers to our regular travelers. And so we actually extended all of our loyalty program statuses through all of next year. We said, don't worry, we know you can't travel. You wouldn't be able to do the trips to keep your status. And so we've just said to extend that. And so honestly, that would probably be the most important thing that we did for our customers, was extend the loyalty program through 2021.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, coming back to a little bit more, let's say, professional question concerning an insight from your side. If you could describe us a full 24 hours of a director of sales and marketing within either a hospitality, in a hotel, in an aviation industry, could you please share with our students a typical 24 hours of a director of sales and marketing? What are the duties? What are the problems? What are the challenges at this position that the future professional may encounter as soon as he gets his degree and goes out in the real market? You are the person to tell us exactly. You've been to various positions, a lot of years. What do you think a director of sales and marketing in a hotel or in a big aviation or in a cruise ship does as a standard job? Could you please share with our students?
I can, and I'm. These were some of the, and I will definitely talk about my one of my best roles that I ever had, which was director of sales and marketing at the Hotel Grand Bretagne. So I hope that is. I was there for 4 years. I adored Greece. I love Greece. If I could have stayed there forever, I would have, but I had to keep working. But let me tell you about a typical day as the director of sales and marketing in somewhere like the Hotel Grand Bretagne. Very, very similar, I think, to if you were a cruise line or any other hospitality type of business. And I love this, but it is very long days and often quite long weeks. And the reason for that is that you do a business day, you do your office day, which is traditionally a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But because you are in the hotel where your customers come to the hotel, a big part of your role is relationship building. It's very, very important to establish trust and be in front of and have a personal relationship with your customers. And that's what tends to happen maybe for breakfast or for dinner, or maybe it is on the weekend. And so a traditional 24 hours, in my day, if I remember it well, is it would usually begin a little earlier. Maybe it could be a 7:30, 8 o'clock, because I would meet for breakfast with customers and I would have business breakfasts. And then my workday would begin with my team and my colleagues. Throughout a normal day, there would be meetings and strategy sessions. And then quite likely there would be sales calls. So leaving the building to do sales calls.
Yes, it's important for that. Thank you for mentioning.
Incredibly important.
Yeah, we need to make sure to our students that having a big position doesn't mean that you are staying inside your office all day long. It means a lot of B2B, business to business meetings. You have to go to your clients. Clients might visit you outside office hours. That's what I would like to hear from an expert to describe a little bit the overall responsibilities of a position like that. Because a lot of times people, they hear a big position, a higher management position, and they think that everything is done behind a computer within office hours. But I would like an expert to give us a little bit the inside look of that.
You're exactly right. And I'd almost even give this advice to your students. The further you go up in the company, you have to intentionally ensure that you are talking to every member of your team. Please don't just hear from your managers. If you have a junior salesperson, they must have time with you. You must have time with them. And the more senior you become in the organization, you must be intentional to be with your customers. Because if you're not talking to all of your team and you're not talking to your customers, you're actually out there on your own, and you're now starting to get out of touch. And so please, with seniority, it's even more important that you ensure that you're speaking with everyone on your team, regardless of level and seniority, and with your customers.
This is an excellent point. Thank you very much for mentioning that. And
Sure.
it's also about a discussion that we have done also earlier about inclusion and diversity and equality in working places, something that American Airlines is really well known for. And if you would like just to tell us a few things about all the policies and all the necessary measures that you are taking, because I know that you are an employer that takes really good the employees and all the policies concerning equality and diversity in the working environment, and also equality.
That's exactly right. And I remember I mentioned earlier on, guys, that my former boss, Allison, went to American Airlines and 6 months later called me and said, you have to come. And she didn't say you have to come because they have the newest planes. She didn't say you have to come because the office is beautiful. She didn't say you have to come because they will pay a lot of money. She said you have to come because the culture at this company is wonderful. It is so inclusive. It is so diverse. And it is a culture of coaching and mentoring and developing your team members. Now, don't get me wrong. We have to achieve results, that it's done with a wonderful culture of inclusion and diversity, coaching, mentoring, and development. And she said, that's why you have to come.
Thank you very much. Those are very important points that you are making. Now, coming closer to the end of our discussion, if there was only one piece of advice that you should give to our soon-to-be young professionals, what it would be? What do you think that the most important thing that they should get out of the studies and working their way through the industry should be?
Well, you know, please, if there's anything that I can give you as that one piece of advice, please do. If there's only one thing you remember today to the students, please try and maybe note this down, only because I do truly believe this, and this will set you up for the rest of your career, is that the first couple of years when you graduate and you take on that first role is so critical as to how you will develop in your career. And because of that, I ask you to please research extremely well the company that you're looking at joining, and interview your boss as intently as you are being interviewed. Make sure the company and the team and your boss are exhibiting a culture of diversity and inclusion, as we mentioned. Please make sure that the company and your boss have a culture that balances care and empathy with high expectations and accountability. And ask your boss how they coach and mentor and will grow you and develop you in your career. Because a culture that the company and your boss represents as you begin your career is critically important. Now, my first boss was Allison Taylor. When I first began and I had my first hotel job, she was the director of sales and marketing of a hotel. And she did everything that I just mentioned. And so I joined that company and I joined Allison. And fast forward a few years later, she is the chief customer officer for the largest airline in the world and is really the reason why I'm working at American Airlines now. So please choose your first company and your first boss wisely. And that is my piece of advice.
Thank you so much. That was so important, so insightful. Those are the things that we are also discussing with our students through various seminars and a lot of discussions that we're having for them. But it's really important to hear them for a person that it's so experienced and so inside the actual market. Now, before we close our discussion, we would like to accept thank you very much for your valuable time and discussion and advice. That was a great honor having you here today. We would like to inform also our audience and our students that we are hoping that we are going to strengthen our relationship, not only to a live webinar and fantastic advices and insights in the market that you are gave us, but we're also thinking about a partnership on educational and training and internships and a lot of interesting things that we are planning together. Because as we have discussed, we consider ourselves as our leaders in the educational field, and you as a leader in the aviation area, we think that we can have a mutual partnership, and we are really looking forward for various levels and new ideas to expand this mutual partnership. And we are very happy that you are feeling also positive about that, about connecting those two big leaders together.
Absolutely, completely agree. I think there's so much we can do for your students as they grow through their careers, as well as for your faculty. I mean, there's many things that we can do together as two industries. So I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to get some folks in Dallas to talk to some of your senior executives, and we'll build a partnership.
That's the best way to close this interview. So, Mr. Hodges, on behalf again of our board of directors, I would like to thank you very much. It's been a fantastic interview. It has been an honor and a big pleasure to have you here with us.
My honor.
We hope that this is the beginning of a bigger partnership and a bigger collaboration. And we hope that we're going to have you soon back for more questions and anything important that needs to be announced. We are happy to have you here again with us.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.